Welcome, family. Welcome to another insightful discussion. I actually took a look at the Madam C.J. Walker true documentary. And in my examination of that, I learned a lot. That's not what I'm here to talk about, but I felt like this was important to squeeze in the beginning of my video here before I get into the subject at hand. Some things that I observed was that I was very, very excited for was the fact that she was self-made millionaire, Black woman in the time of Jim Crow, in the time of separation and division, in a time where Blacks didn't have to pay taxes to the masses. Our money wasn't being funneled to things that we did not know about. Can you imagine that if today we were in that position, the amount of money that we make, if we didn't have to pay taxes, how much money we can keep in our communities? Can you imagine if there wasn't people continuously conspiring in our communities with drugs? And some people who think that drugs are natural, but don't see the hand that played a part in pushing it into our communities. That demonize our own people due to things that we cannot control, circumstances that we are put in. When I look back at that documentary, which was a beautifully made documentary, that's one thing I like about true documentaries, because you hear it straight from the people that were there. And these were older folks. Actually, this documentary seems so familiar to me. I had seen it in the 80s. Because there was one lady in that documentary that owned her own barbershop. She looked really familiar, and I had to have seen her before. But another thing that I noticed in this documentary was that we had, the question I had was she an experiment? Were they studying her? Because her daughter ended up, it's obvious that they did study us, because her daughter ended up dying at a young age, and she purposely overate and drunk alcohol, of course. That became an issue. In my mind, things could have turned out better. But it seemed like our people had this tunnel vision of, doing as the Caucasians do. And that doesn't cut it for us. But we continued that same thing when it comes to money. A lot of our people still live in the same way, following in their tracks. Taking the low road, the low way instead of the highway. So I just wanted to run that across to you, what I got out of the Madam C.J. Walker true documentary story. See, I don't get into those movies, because those movies, they'll take you a whole different place. Because they come from the minds of the demented many times. So let's get into what I want to talk about now. What I want to talk about now is we are actually in 2029, according to the Gregorian calendar. You might ask, how do I know that? Because 2021 was actually 2012. When we look at it, we've always they've lied 10 years. They pulled everything 10 years back in this illusion. We know that they're just going by their existence, by the Gregorian calendar. They're not really going according to the true planet's planetary existence. They're going according to a man. So a man's existence that came in. So when we look at it, we know that they have always pushed us to see things in a certain perspective. And we're seeing things in a certain perspective that we would give power to that, energy to that. We do give energy on a constant basis. So therefore, we allow that to be. We allow whatever they tell us to be, because we agree upon it unwillingly. You know, that's part of being in a construct. So once we agree to it, then it is so. So we agreed, a lot of our people, a lot of them agreed that this is 2020. But this is not truly 2020. So basically, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get right into the video. And then I'm going to talk about it afterwards.
And the CEO and co-host of Skywatch TV, known for in-depth reporting on prophecy, conspiracies, and the supernatural. His recent research covers a subject he says is strange and scary.
And it is going to shake the public to the bone.
The Wormwood Prophecy is Horn's latest book, which thoroughly examines Bible prophecy, a known asteroid, and the impact it could have on all of us.
Thomas Horn joins us now. Welcome. It's nice to have you with us.
Thank you for having me.
Thomas, you've had supernatural experiences several times in your life where God has revealed something to you. Share one of those with us.
Okay, 2010. I go to sleep, not expecting anything to happen. This always happens around 2 a.m. in the morning. And I suddenly see the Vatican. I see Rome. And I see these clouds rising up over it. Then I wake up. The minute I wake up, I take a piece of paper and I write down, Pope, this is 2010. Mm-hmm. Pope Benedict XVI is going to resign, and he's going to resign in April of 2012. Now, I started doing television about this. I was on Sid Ross at Supernatural. I'm out there on the Jim Baker Show and Prophecy in the News and all these shows. Even wrote a book, Petrus Romanus, The Final Pope is Here. In the book, I say, Pope Benedict XVI is going to retire in April of 2012, right? And I published that a year before the event. So now 2012 comes and goes. It doesn't appear that the Pope had resigned. So I thought, uh-oh, what did I do, right? 2013, February rolls around, and the Vatican announces that Pope Benedict XVI has resigned. But on that same day, the Vatican's news media outlet, the El Observatorio Romano, published an article and also gave an interview to the New York Times, one of their journalists, in which they admitted that Pope Benedict actually secretly resigned when he returned from a trip in March of 2012, and the Courier accepted his resignation in April 2012. Well, I got to tell you, when that was announced, my phone was ringing off the hook. Even the fake news agencies wanted me to come on to explain who my insider at the Vatican was, and I jokingly told my wife, if I tell them it's the Holy Spirit, that's going to really confuse them, right? But that's one of several events that have just been uncanny. It does go back to when I was a young Christian, desperately seeking God, wanted to be in the ministry full time, came home one night, and the next thing I know, I'm standing in front of what I believed was God, and that he had shown me some things and told me it's time for you to go back now, and you will not remember what I have shown you until the time is right. And so since then until now, on some occasions, this just happens. And
You start at that point and then a new revelation comes?
yeah, I go back. Well, it's like pieces in a puzzle. And frankly, I don't fully understand everything yet. I don't understand why I get these glimpses of things that then have a way of coming. And these are astonishing things. I mean, no pope had resigned in over 600 years. It was highly improbable that this was, and I really went out on a limb to be talking about it publicly.
Last year, you had a dream that woke you up, and when we talked earlier, you said you're not always fearful of the things that you see, but this really caused some anxiety.
Yeah. And it's because when I go into those places, it's not like a dream. It's in full color. It's cinematic. It feels like I am there. And I woke up running across a mountain, somehow that behind us, an asteroid was coming towards the Earth. And there was thousands of us. And oh, by the way, people everywhere falling down on their faces, begging God to deliver us from this terror that was coming. So I was in a full panic. And then I felt it when it hit, and I knew it hit the Pacific Ocean. And as soon as it hit, the earth was shaking so much nobody could stand up. I heard a terrible cracking sound, like the mantle of the earth was literally being ruptured. Now, the details of this is in the book, The Wormwood Prophecy, so we don't have time on this program to go into all that. But yeah, it was very, very real to me. I thought that it was happening.
In the dream, did you connect it immediately to Revelations 8, or was that something after?
No. As soon as I woke up, I started writing down, and it was as if a voice spoke through my room. By the way, I don't know if there was really an audible voice or if it was just in my head. I don't know. But I heard a single word, and that was the word Apophis. I knew that there was an ancient chaos dragon, an Egyptian god of darkness called Apophis, and I knew that NASA had named an asteroid Apophis. But I really didn't know anything more than that about it, so I got up and started doing all the research into the asteroid Apophis, because I knew that's what this dream was about, not about a dragon falling out of heaven. So I have a friend that I've known for years that is and has above top secret security clearance, works with flight analysis with NASA, and I got a hold of him. Anyway, a lot of details, they're in the book, but one thing led to another, and I came to believe that international space agencies, including the European Space Agency and NASA, are involved in a cover-up of the potential for Apophis to strike the Earth Friday the 13th, April 2029. So I believe that in 9 years from now, it's more likely than not that Apophis is going to make impact on the Earth, and that it will be the fulfillment of Revelation chapter 8, verses 10 and 11, where it talks about the wormwood.
And Apophis is an asteroid, a very large asteroid.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about some of the dimension and the impact that you describe in the book.
Yeah, so Apophis is 370 meters. In terms of feet, that's a little over 1,200 feet wide, or to put it into more mental imagery, 4 NFL football fields wide. It's traveling through space at 28,000 miles per hour. It weighs an estimated 20 million metric tons. And if it impacts the Earth, one of NASA's own mapping technologies says that if it does hit the Earth in 2029, it's likely to come down along the border of Mexico and California. So it's going to be a highly densely populated area. They estimate the deaths anywhere from literally tens of millions to billions of people. So a great part of the Earth. It'll be equal to 65,000 of the bombs, the atomic bombs that we dropped on Nagasaki and sunk Hiroshima at the end of World War II, 65,000. Another NASA astronomer I spoke with, an impact specialist actually from the Pentagon, he said it's every nuclear bomb that is on Earth today owned by the United States, China, Russia, all nuclear nations, all put in one place on Earth, going off all at the same time. And in fact, literally could crack the mantle of the Earth.
Of course, we are told that we're blessed if we examine Revelation and all that it has to say. But what do you want the takeaway for people to be from the Wormwood prophecy?
Well, I want the takeaway to be this is a great opportunity for Christians to be evangelistic, because the closer we get to this event, within 5 years from now, you'll be able to use a telescope at home and look into space and see Apophis racing towards Earth. 2 years after that, you'll see it with the naked eye in the nighttime sky. So the closer we get to this event, the more opportunity we're going to have to talk about prophecy, the imminent second coming of Jesus Christ, why people should be ready. It literally could spawn the next great awakening, because I did also see that in the vision. People everywhere, worldwide, on their face, praying to God. So I want it to be that, but I also don't want people to be guided by fear, and I want people to know that where NASA may not be able to mitigate this circumstances, God can, and there is a precedent in Scripture for when judgment was coming, but people cried out to God, and God delayed that moment in time.
Well, the book is called The Wormwood Prophecy, NASA, Donald Trump, and a Cosmic Cover-Up of End-Time Proportions. It's available wherever books are sold.
Oh,
thank you. Great to have you with us.
Hey there. Welcome back. Yeah. Do you want to come up, DOD? Let me see, where's that thing? There you go, DOD. I sent you the link. But as we all know, there's been the so-called, I'm going to say so-called meteorites, because I'm under the thought process of it being more, hold on, let me fix this up. Hey, peace, like, I mean, that's Wiseman. I'm under the thought process is more to the meteorites than what they are saying. And that statement, his last statement, was so sinister. His last statement was sinister about how sinister and false about how they want, and they want all to bow down to a God. And how they think everything is going to be. You know, like I said, our minds are the most powerful things. And that's the thing. When people talk about conspiracy, it's not saying, conspiracy does not mean that it doesn't exist. Conspiracy means that people are conspiring. That's what a conspiracy is. It's letting you know that something is awry. Something's been amped. Something has gone awry. There's bad juju somewhere. That's what conspiracy tells you. And these people, we all know already that where they get their information, their knowledge from. And we all have we should by now have the understanding or overstanding and understanding that a lot of the things come from their their need for survival and from their demented minds. You want to say anything, DLD?
I'm just listening so far.
Okay. From their demented minds. And like I said in my description, it's as if they write the script to live out their lives. And like I said yesterday, it's knowledge that's been given to them, but they can't digest it the way they cannot digest the food that our ancestors, that our great ancient ancestors left for them to eat on, so that they can regurgitate it to us the proper way. It didn't work out that way. It didn't turn out that way. It turned out where they digested it and it went down a different way. And it came out a different end. So it came out to be more bullshit than anything. So hold on, family. Go ahead and start talking.
A.S. Wiseman, thanks for coming through. Appreciate it. How you been? I mean, it was very interesting. You missed the video, I think, S. Wiseman. I'm not sure if you were here or not, but she showed a video of a guy saying that he can see into the future, and that he saw a meteor or an asteroid coming to hit the planet in 2029, April, I think he said, of 2029. And so Lightbearer was just showing that video. And so I'm thinking she's going to tie all that in to what the title is, saying that this is actually 2029 and not 2020 for them. So me, I'm gonna to get together, because I hadn't talked to her before this, other than she told me what the title was going to be. So I'm quite curious to see what's going on, and that's why I'm not saying too much about it, because I'm trying to see where she's going with this. So everything they do seem from their need to survive. Well, of course, yeah. And
They know how powerful we are as a people, but some of our people don't believe that we have that abilities, and they don't believe in the darkness, and everybody's been turned away from the unseen. Everybody been told about some wickedness that they can't see the wickedness that is right in front of them. So that's by their design, of course, that you call everything else wicked, but you don't see the wicked hand in front of you. You see what I'm saying? It's crazy. So our people looking for something other that's other than the God that's in front of them, that has created so much havoc and horrific trauma in their own lives, but they still give honor to that. You see what I'm saying? And is that any clearer?
See, for me, I've always said, I know a lot of people say that they're looking to do whatever they can to save themselves, and that may be true, but I look at it as they're trying to do everything to make sure that there's no one else here, because they don't want to give up power to anybody, and so they'll take the whole planet out before they give up, any control. That's the way I see it.
Well, they don't have control. You know, that's the thing about it. You got to realize too.
Well, they have society controlled.
Well, yeah, they have control about as much.
You're breaking up, Blackberry. Can't hear you.
About as much control as you allow them to have in your mind. But like I'm trying to explain now, everything is a lie. You know, what he just said was a bold-faced lie. He knows that there are things they know by reading Revelations that it's telling them that their end is coming near. That's the truth of Revelations. When it says 666, the number of a man, that's us. 6 protons, 6 neutrons, and 6 electrons. That's our makeup, body makeup of our melanin, of your melanin, of carbon. Hey, Natty Tarfo, welcome. So, hold on a second again.
Oh, Alfie Too Far, welcome. Hope I pronounced that correctly. Thanks for coming through. Appreciate it. Hit the like button, please, if you haven't already.
What I said was a lot of people are going to say conspiracy theorists. Even with the 5G, they're trying to say we're conspiracy theorists because all they know is what they've been taught on the surface. You know, we got all these smart people, but all they really know is how to make a buck. Like Roland Martin. He's very intelligent. Okay, I give him that. And so are a lot of our other people, but they only look on the surface of things, and they don't look at they're most of them are Christians. So you know what a Christian is, right? It's a sheeple. It's someone who is going to be in line with the group of people that murdered their ancestors, but they can't see that. They can't see that. They just see that they have to go along, get along. So they have to stay in the graces through believing in a Jesus but they believe in those things, but they don't want to look and see the other side of things. You know, you can look at both sides of a situation and be in the middle, but that's something they refuse to do. They want to say that people are conspiracy theorists without really knowing what conspiracy is. Conspiracy is real. It doesn't say something ain't true. It says this is real. But people can't get that in their minds for some reason. They want to say that 5G is okay. But, you kind of have to let people go on. Hold on. I apologize for all the disruption. Yeah, they're surface dwellers. All they see, you know, the education system really did a number on them. It taught them their perspective. So they see everything from their perspective. I see things, I guess, because, you know, the star I'm born under, that's what's happening. It's just a different personality, different way of knowing that there's different perspectives to come from. And the perspective that we were fed, since our people, you know, there's some facts that you know, and the facts that we know, our people were void of all their knowledge of self and given this damn Bible. Instead of being studiers of the Bible and trying to see it, come at it from a different light, we are followers and we become sheep. So that's what happens. And like you said, as Wiseman, they just become surface dwellers. So now we know that meteorites have been hitting. Didn't we have one? I'm trying to see the one in Russia hit in Russia, and that was very devastating. It shook the whole area. Let me get the information for you guys. Okay, here we go. In 2013, that happened. Let me share the screen with you guys in a minute here. Okay, the information about this meter. Okay. Hold on, let me, I'm gonna share the screen. Okay. Can y'all see the screen?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Okay. This is the Chelyabinsk meteor that happened in 2013, February the 15th. I know a lot of us remember this. It was caused by approximately 20 meters, 66 feet near Earth asteroid with a speed of 19.16 plus or minus 0.15 kilometers per second, 60,000, 69,000 kilometers per hour, or 40,000 to 42,900 miles per hour. Quickly became a brilliant superboiled meteor over the southern Ural region. The light from the meteor was so bright than the sun, visible up to 100 km. Y'all also remember when it went dark, they had darkness in, I think it was Georgia, Russia. You remember that? They were in darkness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's see if this video plays. That video. Okay. I guess this is when the meteor hit there.
So it was nighttime.
Yeah. See it?
Yep.
Thank goodness for cameras. in public. Now we can see things that we would probably miss if we didn't have the cameras out there on the, see what I'm saying?
And people out there walking like it was no big deal.
Yeah,
Like they're
but
used to it or something.
once it hit, it started shaking the area. It hadn't hit yet. That's the thing. They didn't even see it. See?
I mean,
And
but they had to see the light in
Yeah.
the sky. They had to see that.
I know, right? Let's
But they're
go.
walking like nonchalantly, like it was no biggie.
I have to see that one again. That was. See, I don't know if we can see the one that happened in Nigeria. I don't know if they have cameras around like that. You know, we know they don't have 5G. And hopefully they don't get it. As that place been my future home one day. But you see, you can see how they didn't see the light though. You know, people are in their own minds. People are docile, you know. They're not looking to nothing happening. They focus on their issues at hand that they're headed towards. You know what I'm saying? They really want to.
Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
See, that's the ways our people are. They're stuck in what the controlled situations that the people want them to be stuck, have their heads stuck in. Like the question of, is there a God or is there not? Does it matter? You're here. Why do you need something to praise? Why do you need something to thank every day? Why do you need why do you need anything that you can't see to do that? You see your mom and dad every day. Why don't you go and praise them? You know what I'm saying? Thank them. I just don't get it. But they allow that as a tool for them not to hold on a second. They use that as a tool for them not to let me go back. Yeah, they use that as a tool for them not to be able to see the truth around them for what it is. And the people that are, we don't see how Caucasians are benefiting more from their control over us. We don't see that. But we are for sure of one thing, that they told us that it was right, that there was a God that we could go to and keep us docile, keep things moving for them. You know what I'm saying? Ain't that
Yeah, I agree
crazy?
with that. I agree with that part.
I don't get it. I really don't. Let me look at this Nigerian, see if we can find footage for that. So this guy is going to say he had a dream and he had a prophecy. Okay. Okay, I think I found a video, but let's see what this is.
I have noticed that their dreams and prophecies always have something to do with death and destruction.
Yeah.
World ending.
Yeah. Of course, of course. So if we notice that, and they have done what they done to us as a people, and made us so that we don't matter to anything. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't matter. Like there's no importance to being a Black person, which we know that when they kind of give us conflicting ideologies, they give us conflicting ideas coming from them. On one hand, it is important for them to be able to be in our business. It's important for them to know what's going on with us. But on the other hand, this whole scheme of things, we're not important in the world. You know what I'm saying? Overall, if you was to look on the surface, we weren't important. But deep, when you know they like to come and see our videos and be a part of things, and just as a whole, they want to be part of things to do with us. And you can see that something is up, something's fishy about that. Especially when they bring Africa into their ideas of wanting to test people in Africa. What's Africa got to do with you? These two French men who wanted to go and shoot up African people with the vaccine.
Yeah.
You know, you got to question, what do they have to do with you? Why don't you go to where it is wreaking havoc, like Italy? Why didn't they mention Italy to test? Because they haven't conquered Africa yet. But I'm about ready to show you all a video of Africa now.
Yeah, if you're going to test a vaccine, you want to test it where the people are sick at. And that's Italy, and China.
Exactly. England.
Spain, over in that area.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Let's see what they say. I'm trying to see if they had any footage when that meteorite hit.
Good evening, friends. I'm Steve Noon. You're watching Israeli News Live. And, guys, several things I just wanted to bring to your attention this evening that we're kind of monitoring. And one of those, if you remember, I mentioned to you just a couple of weeks ago there about the incoming, the debris field that the Earth is going to be traveling through with a lot of meteorites, things like that, that could really cause some major devastation to the Earth. Well, a good friend of mine sent this article to me. Is it an asteroid? Nigerians question strange explosion in Akure. So earlier in the month on March, National Aeronautics and Space Administration announced that an asteroid will fly over the Earth. This asteroid was referred to as a large, potentially hazardous. The asteroid, of course, called 2012 XA-1333, was set to pass Earth Thursday, March 27th. March 27th in Nigeria, that would be at a speed of 53,000 miles per hour. However, with a note of assurance, NASA said that the Earth will not be affected. Well, just so happens, though, says that Nigerians located in Akure were alerted the early hours of this morning after a loud noise that shook the whole town was heard in Akure, destroying some buildings located in Eliyowa community in a town located at a kilometer away from Akure Airport. So a large number of buildings, including churches and a school, affected by the explosion. Kind of reminds me of what happened, if you remember, over in Russia when the asteroid that come in through there caused that sonic boom, destroying places like crazy. Well, these are some of the images here, as you can see, that were caused by this particular asteroid traveling at 53,000 miles per hour or whatever it was. But looks like some chunk of that ended up making a massive impact there in Nigeria. So, it starts to give you some real credence to what we're talking about here, and that these things are real. They are coming. It's not a joke, and very much, as I say, very much really going to happen. Some other things too, and I don't know which video I have up here first. I'll take a quick look here. Yeah, this here is from Brother Fernando out of Texas. And this is the military getting their tanks into position, sent to us by Sister Rosa, and but courtesy of Fernando. So God bless you, brother. Thank you for getting this to us here. And we're just a couple of days late in getting this information up. But let me show you the video here that he shares here. The trains, tanks, and I forget, it seemed like it was about 40-something tanks that were actually on this train. Of course, some of those were howitzers as well. And the things we are talking there on the video itself. And but anyway, it's I believe that looks like howitzer right there. I can't quite tell myself. It's not my expertise there. And of course, I'm dealing with my cat when he comes sit in the lap right now, but and also walk on my computer keypad. Anyway, you know, a lot of troubling issues that we see going on, guys, and we just want to share these things with you. We'll probably come back to this video tomorrow as well. But besides that, we also, you know, I've got friends and other people that live up in Northwest Florida that also shared some interesting footage with me here that I wanted to bring to your attention when we're speaking about the coronavirus. And let me see if I can find that real quick here. This was kind of interesting. Kind of thought it was kind of interesting, skull and bones there, or something like that on there. But this was at a looks like West Florida hospital there. I used to live up there, so I kind of know this area myself a little bit. They do have an area right there, and I'll kind of pause here for a moment there, where they're receiving their people and screening them before they actually go into the hospital. But if you notice, even right there to the left of your screen, back up just a little bit, nobody wearing their mask there, nobody wearing their mask on the inside, nobody over here wearing their mask, all hospital personnel. But from a different angle, the way they captured this video, there you go there, this guy does have on his mask, but he's not even wearing a COVID, a mask that would work for COVID, just a regular type surgical mask. It doesn't seem to be a medical professional, maybe security, something like that. And the hospital personnel, again, going in, no mask, no nothing. And like I said, even when you go back into here, none of the people in the videos here, and they're supposed to be here for, you know, employees and medical staff enter here, department patients, visitors enter here, but nobody wearing protective gear. Just kind of makes you wonder about that as we see that going on. And then we also had gotten some footage as well besides this here, also from another local hospital there in Northwest Florida, Sacred Heart. This one was really interesting because in the video footage that we got here, besides, and in both cases, the emergency rooms, or at least the parking lots, things like that, there was nobody there. And then the staff was out here. From what was explained to me, the staff was standing out in the parking lot. And of course, they do have a life flight pad out there. So,
Well, we got off on a little bit more of stuff. We discussed about the coronavirus as well. But we're taking a look at this meteorites in the book of Revelations. What I want our people to get is that they don't have nothing to worry over. If you're not walking in the way of this beast, who you should be questioning, you should be having conspiracy theories, which is laid out plain for you to see when it comes to this religion stuff. But our people don't don't see what the left hand is doing, but the right hand is smacking you. You looking at the left hand, but the right hand is smacking you. So, you know, I don't know. It's just crazy, DOD.
I agree with you. It is crazy. And like I said, I think it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better.
But what I'm saying is, we don't have to have their doomsday experience. We don't have to see things as doomsday. It's not doomsday for us. I'm not saying, you know, our people have this religious idea that once you die, you die, because that's what we've been taught here. And that's what they've been brainwashed in Africa to know too. But we know more because we know that the Egypt they're talking about has nothing to do with Kemet. The Egypt they were talking about came at a later time than Nubians and the Kemetic people. But they did embody the Kemetic ideologies and the knowledge. So therefore, the people think that these people are wicked, but the people that were wicked are the people who took over Egypt, over Nubia and Kemet. And who also took over Greece? Look at it today. The same people took over Greece. Greece was a black land. They were black people in the ancient time that gave credit to the Kemetic people for the university, for the knowledge, for the education that they gave their people, because we always split apart. You know, we were all split apart, but we still did trade. You know, we had advanced societies due to Pangea, due to the changing, due to our planet actually leaving our neighborhood, leaving the area that was home to us. But now we're going back to the area that is home to us. Things are going back, you see. But this is some of the knowledge that we lack. We lack the truth. They want to conspire everything against us, which isn't really working for them at all. Nothing is working for them. You see, this disease, this virus that's going on has backfired on them. But as long as our people mentally making it about us, it's not about us. It's not gonna, these things that they've done would be their downfall if we wouldn't put ourselves into the issue. You know what I'm saying? With our eating and if we weren't dependent upon them. That's why I mentioned Madam C.J. Walker, because that tells us the time when we started trying to relate more with these people when it came to money, how we did with money, how we dealt with money. We dealt with it in the ways that they dealt with it, you see, instead of dealing with it in a community manner and lifting up the community, not just lifting up the big business that we produce, that the individual produced, but lifting up the surrounding community with it. And not just doing it in charity, you know, because if I want all my people to have. I want my people to be better. In order to have, you got to see the true knowledge too. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to somehow bust away from the lies so that we could build. You can't build if you're wanting to be the same way as the people who are wicked. You know, that means that you're going to bring over some of their wicked ways because you're still attached to them in some manner. You know, we need to see what the true devil, the true wickedness is on the planet. And it's not no darkness. It ain't no 666, and it ain't no witchcraft. It ain't no Hebrew, I brew, and yesterday they brew. It's more than that. We've always been more than that. But we got to look at what's their premises. What do they stand upon? What's the truth that they're hiding? And it's us. We're the secret. That's what they stand on. That's the only legs they stand on. It's our legs. But we can't see that for some reason. It'll tear us apart to lead Jesus. It'll make us cry, make us depressed. What do we have to have our faith in? Our ancestors had their faith in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Go ahead, DOD. I apologize. You have anything to say, DOD?
Okay, yeah, no, I'm gonna say no, exactly. I understand exactly where you're coming from. But you know, at the same time, you know, I know what you're saying. I understand it, and I know a lot of people don't understand it.
Yeah.
So, but to get them there, that's the thing. I'm asking, what do we need to do to wake our people up? Because the slumber that they're in is a deep sleep that they're in.
Right. It's a deep sleep. Sometimes, you know, they have to, I mean, you think, you know, more, Roland Martin had his wake-up call when they kicked him off the CNN. And now he has to start his own Black thing, but um, he still don't see something. He still wants to be a part of that, you know?
Well, see, him getting kicked off CNN and starting his own stuff, that was a good thing, though.
Yeah, it was a good thing. I agree. But
like you said, his mindset is still there.
yeah,
So I mean, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
He's talking about the other day that why Black people, he wants to know if we're being discriminated in these hospitals. They can do whatever they want. It's their hospitals. What have we built? You know, it's not too late for us. We can still have our little clinic. All the doctor has, just like what they doing. They're making makeshift tents and stuff. Why can't we do that? And test our own people with our own created tests. We got very intelligent people, men, women, that can make these tests.
And see, and the thing I always say is our body chemistries are different from theirs.
Exactly.
So a lot of this, a lot of stuff that these vaccines are not going to work. It's not going to work for us because it's not made for us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just like their shampoos and their soaps and a lot of things that's made for them, it's not made for us. We're different.
We're different. And now they're saying that the tests are actually giving people coronavirus. They're infected.
I believe that. I believe they're infecting people.
Yeah, I believe that too. But another thing,
because if you think, if you think they're going to test these vaccines or whatever they really are in just Africa, I'm quite sure. No, they're testing it on Black people right here in America.
Yes,
and that's why they're dying.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. So let me get back to the 2012 how we thought that we were in the year 2012, and there was a man who was doing it was a Black man. I'm trying to find him. 2012 Black man. Okay, this Black man was talking, but people didn't believe him because they didn't see anything happening. Let me see. This is the right man. That don't look like him. I shouldn't say he was talking about. I think this was 2011 when he was doing this. See if that's better. That's not it. Oh, he was talking about the end of the world. Okay. Okay, let's see if that's it. I can't find that news footage. Let me see here. No, that's not it. No, that's not what I needed to. Okay, let's see. But I can't find that man, but I found something else interesting that I'm gonna read because okay. I couldn't find that man, but in 20, I'm gonna just talk about him.
What's his name?
And I don't know his name. He was on the streets talking about talking about the end of the world was coming once it turned 2012 or something like that. And a lot of people didn't listen to him or believe him. But I remember him distinctively being out there and saying this. And I thought, it's not physically going to be seen as such, but it 2021 was the time of the awakening. So they tried to slow down our awakening, but they couldn't. Our people are awakening on a constant basis. Our people are finding information that is waking them up on a constant basis. That is contrary to what the Caucasian says. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's missing pieces that I can't really give, but I know that their minds are different than ours. They see things terrifying. They live in a terrifying world. Of course, we know that because look at how they shot Castile, right in the car with his girlfriend and his baby girl in the back seat. And then they say they fear us. So I knew this before because before these shooting incidents happened, because it was told by Bobby Hemmett that their minds see us as monsters. They see us as monsters.
Yeah, they always have. They are a terrified. They're a scary race of people.
Yeah.
Everything's scary. We especially get scared.
See, they can see things. They can see the true world. So that's why a lot of them tend to see the aircraft flying in the sky. That's how they had got their ideas and technologies, by what they see and what they have the capability of seeing, that we have been cut off from because we are that. But we chose to have this physical experience, so we're cut off from our spiritual. But we have to reconnect to that spiritual so that we can see it again. So they are locked down in this physical. And they know that things are real, but they tell us a different story to keep us cut apart from that energy, our energy source, our powers. So they want us to think that there's a devil and there's a war between good and evil. So what that looks like, and what that means is that we're a part of that. We're part of that, and a lot of our people agree to be a part of that battle between good and evil. That means you're either good or you're either evil. So people can send you things that says, well, you walking in darkness because you're not doing the things or thinking the things that they think. You're not a sheeple. So if you're not a sheeple, somehow you got to be evil and walking in darkness. Or if you think contrary to what the masses want you to think, then there's something very wrong. You can't have your own mind. But the truth is the truth, and you can't change that. And if you try to change it, it only falls back upon them. Hello, Emmanuel Briggs. It falls back upon them. So let me go ahead and share my screen again. And we're going to get into the Hopi prophecies. Oh, what did I do? Let me see. Okay. This is about the Hopi prophecies. What is this? It's in my way. It's in my way. Ooh. Okay, that's in my way. Okay. That's in my way. Okay. More than any other tribe in North America, the Hopi Indians, which Indians just means indigenous people, the Black people, have developed according to the dictates and demands of what may be called a legacy of prophecy. The prediction of the life to come do not merely pertain to the Hopi themselves, but deal with impending events on a global scale. These prophecies began to be made public shortly before the mid-20th century. The Hopi are an aggregation of clans that came together at the center point in northern Arizona during the course of their migration. Because they are not a monolithic tribe, the sources of their prophecies are fragmentary and multifarious, of course. They were part of the lack of narrative clarity, also has to do with the secretive nature of the Hopi. These isolated sedentary farmers living in unpretentious pueblos, basically stone apartment buildings on a high desert of the American Southwest, have looked into the future from their kibas, subterranean communal prayer chambers, and have seen some rather disturbing scenarios. Many times they simply do not wish to share these visions with the outside world. Concerning the history of exploitation and genocide of Native Americans in general, this is understandable. Like Maya, among whom the Hopi once lived and with whom they later traded, the Hopi conceptualized the cycles of time as world ages. The Hopi believe that we have suffered 3 previous world cataclysms. The first world was destroyed by fire, a comet, asteroid strike, or a number of volcanic eruptions. The second world was destroyed by ice, a great ice age, as recorded by many cultures around the globe. A tremendous deluge destroyed the third world. These three global destructions were not the result of merely random earth changes or astrophysical phenomenon, but humankind's disregard I say that loud and clear, of a humankind's disregard both for Mother Earth and for spiritual dictates of the creature, of the creator, dictates of the creator. In other words, capitalism against the natural world are casually connected to collective transgressions or negative human actions. Unlike the Maya, the Hopi are rarely specific about the dates of shifting of these ages. It has been said that the Maya were masters of time, whereas the Hopis are masters of space. The verb tense here are deliberate, given that Maya no longer followed the long calendar of 394 years cycles. Instead, they now use the Zolkin calendar of 260 days, an amazingly complex system nonetheless, living on their three primary mesas. The Hopi continue to perform a series of annual sacred rituals with their ceremonial cycle in order to keep not just themselves, but rather the world in balance. As time goes by, this task is increasingly difficult because our contemporary lifestyle, with its technological gadgetry and unseemly allurements, continues to erode traditional ways of life and ancestral Hopi values. Fewer and fewer young Hopi are learning their indigenous language, customs, and ceremonies. More youth are leaving Hopi land to seek employment in urban areas. Those do stay. Okay, learning indigenous language. More youth are leaving the Hopi land to seek employment in urban areas. Those that do stay on the reservation are confronted with intra-tribal squabbles, and much worse, with high rates of alcoholism and increasingly available lethal street drugs. The dire signs of Native Americans' version of the end times are everywhere. But like I said, the end times hold on, there was something there and I wanted to. All right, let me go back here. Hold on, family. Let me move out of this area because it's too loud. Okay, hold on a second. Let me take this off. Stop sharing this. Okay, I'm back. So basically, they destroyed like they said, they destroyed the Native Americans. So, but when they destroy these people, they take their information, of course, and they turn it into what they want to turn it into. Like I saw back there when I was looking at the screen, they said slave of Barbaria. Now, they took the Moors' good intentions to teach them and to get them back to health because they were suffering from the Black Plague, but they called them white. They called themselves white slaves because they were being taught how to take a bath and take care of themselves by the high priest and the men that that were under them to go in and to eradicate disease and famine and all the horrific things that were going on in those times in the Dark Ages. You see how they turn knowledge around? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here. Go ahead.
You see how they kill the people off and disease things, and then they turn knowledge around?
Yep, they've been doing that.
Yeah, ages and ages. They've been stealing knowledge, and that's why that's why the Hebrews and the Christians think that the Egyptians are these bad people. But there was they didn't call themselves Egyptians. Egyptian is of course, let's look at that word Egypt. We know it doesn't come from Africans. So we're gonna look at it. The etymology. Etymology of Egypt. The word Egypt. We know that it means bondage, but where did that word originate from? That's what I'm trying to find. Let me see something here. Did I share my screen already?
Not yet.
Okay, now let me share it with you guys. Are y'all following me or am I confusing?
I mean, I'm following you.
Okay. All right. Let's look at this. I found the etymology for Egypt. Origin word in Egypt. Okay. We all recognize the word Egypt as the name of a modern country in North Africa, not a part of the Middle East as it's commonly misperceived. You see, this is how we get them. We get them by these words that do not come from the region, but they come from the Greek. How do you have Jewish words that are Greek? Like Jesus, like Jesus. So he's got a Greek name. How do you have an African country that is Greek? You see how they're not too smart and too bright?
Yeah.
When you're doing shit, you gotta cover all your shit up. You know, you gotta find a way to cover it all up. So leave nothing open for a question. You see. So they teach our people in the Bible that Egypt is bad. They slaved people. They make up these lies and stories. Egypt never slaved anybody. But in the fairy tale land, they probably did. In the fairy tale land, you can make up a children's book story and say about anything to do with the imagination. to incite the children's imagination, that is. So, and then make like these people without color in their skin existed then, really. So my question was always, if that was so, then how was Africa all white people in the Bible? You see what I'm saying? How was that
Just because it
region
wasn't.
that they're talking about in the Bible all white people?
Well, we all know there was no
They
white people
killed
in
our-
Africa.
But they killed our ancestors, and we believe this. They killed our ancestors all. They tortured them. They went through extreme, painful deaths that we know that we never took white people through. But somehow we still believe them. Okay. So they said this about Egypt is derived from the Greek word Egyptos. But so if it derived from a word, then it's not a word that the people that live there would ever use.
Nope.
But you know what? The Arabs took over their land. And now they want to cut the land off from being a part of us, and it is a part of us. That land and all land is a part of us. But they want to cut it off and make it a part of Arabia that they have also created, which means black people, because the original Arabs were black. When I lived in the Arab land, I seen a lot of black people, not just Africans, but because you can tell the difference between the Africans and the natural Arabs that are Arabic. So, but few have ever traced the origin of this word. Egyptos is a contraction of the Greek term Egyptos, because you know what? Like I was singing, they conquered the land. They conquered the true Greek people, which were dark-skinned, dark people. Because we know this because the people in ancient times were giving credit to Kemet for all of their learning, their architecture, and everything. But then all that changed. White people started saying, "No, we started this. We created this," and we see a big change in religion. We see religion coming out. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
We seeing all this records. We seeing black people dead, and we're seeing records being created, stories being created. Ain't that obvious? It's still obvious. Okay. Is a contraction of the Greek term Hygyptos. Hygyptos was a Greek transliteration of ancient term hexka. Yeah, see? Now that's more like the original Greeks. The original Greeks, that's an original Greek word right here. We're seeing it. You can also trace back through the words. You can trace back because these Caucasians, they change words, they change things to fit their way of speaking. Like they changed us to speak like them with a lazy tongue. Ka is a term that has been subjected to many translations by Egyptologists. We choose the indigenous definition, the physical projection of the soul, not the body, which was a ka, a naket. but the personality that attaches itself to the body. Ta was the title of one of the so-called creator gods, or netters, the netters, which is what they call today Satan. Everything to do with our ancients, they have covered it up in this, what they call darkness. And they made our people seem so bad. So
Yep.
our people are thinking that it's the devil, but it's their own stuff. So they're Christians now, so they're shunning their own ancients. And they're gonna give us their scripts.
Because Kemet was the original name.
Yeah, Nubia, Kubalan, and I believe the whole planet was it.
I do too.
So look at how they make the Bible. When you read those stories, I'm thinking back when I was a kid, the stories. The world looked white. According to their book stories, the world was white. You couldn't find none of us anywhere in those books. And I couldn't find us anywhere in the Renaissance or the Dark Ages. Only the Moors in the Dark Ages. But they totally left us out. But yet we're slaves in captivity. You see?
Yep.
And this term is found as an inscription on the stela near the modern Egyptian village of Mitzrayim, or I like to say Mazarine. But Mazarine, it was not a bad place with wicked people. If they created civilization and they didn't have murder and stealing and lying and killing. Look at Madam Musa. He wasn't in that region. He was in Africa, but he was in a different part of Africa. But they weren't so in such a way where nobody could have money and gold. People had money and gold. Our people had money and gold. It wasn't like one king hogged up everything. No. It all belonged to the people. It was a different time,
Right.
But they'll tell it to us as if, all this bad, horrific things, they want us to keep our minds clouded by bad, horrific things. That's why they did so much trauma to us, But
welcome, Monique.
But I think we have to face it. We don't have to just say my spirituality has nothing to do with your spirituality has a lot to do with it. If you want to be powerful in your spirituality, you got to know how to hate that which is destructional and love that which is building. You got to be able to discern which one is which. That's a big part of our spirituality. And that's why we let them into our spirituality. We let them in and let them control our emotions, our mind state, and everything else. This term is found as an inscription on stela near the modern Egyptian village of Mitzrayim, situated near the ruins of the ancient Egyptian capital city the Greeks named Memphis, known to the ancients as Mennefer, the generation of harmony. Therefore, the term Hetkapata referred only to one site, the one city that was the first capital of dynastic Egypt, not the whole country or civilization. The ancients referred to the country as Kemet, which has been written many different ways. Kemet, 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 Kem, Alkem. In the form we prefer, Kemet. It literally meant the black land and referred to the rich black alluvial soil deposited by the Nile River, which
Now you see how they try to do that?
allowed the
You see
agriculture.
how they try to say that? I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. They changed it.
Where they try to say, okay, Kemet says it literally means black.
Mm-hmm.
And that, then they're going to try to make it sound like the reason why it said it was black because of the soil.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was black because black, it means pale, means it doesn't necessarily mean pale, but it means white. But white is even a made up word, and black is a made up word, but it means it means light. We know these things mean light. You know what I'm saying? You hear me? They're still trying to talk about the light and the void of light. Let me come back and stop sharing this page. But all right, here we go. Hey, Monique Hill, welcome. They need us to be fearful. Don't fall for that. Yes, they need us to be fearful. You're right, Monique. We're not fearful, but there's our people that are talking about, we know what the problem is. We know what to do to overcome this. We got solutions. We know our solutions, Some of our people just been misled to be fearful. If you follow in a religion that is causing you to be fearful, you might want to check that religion out. It may not be what's right for you. It may not be healthy for you either. Monique, you said you're uncontrollable. What you mean by that? Yeah, what I was saying earlier, they like to control everything.
Yeah, Monique might be behind.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she might be a little bit behind.
Mm-hmm. But you have anything else you want to say?
Now, once again, excellent teachings.
Yeah.
I enjoy coming over, and watching you put everything together. That's what I really enjoy. I really enjoy, you doing that, and then letting everybody in the chat, ask their questions and participate that way.
Yeah, because we're in 2029, and I know that Bobby Hemmett talked about that they like to keep us thinking we're 10 years behind. They really built a, what do you call it? They really put a lot of stones on top of our heads to keep us from rising up, coming to surface. They're really, like I said, they fight like hell. They fighting like hell for their own survival, their own existence on this planet. And them, like I said, they're talking about destruction because they know that eventually they're going to be destroyed as a people. Because the end of the world is not the end of the world just for us. It's the end of the world that we know with them. So when they were talking about all these prophecies in 2012, it ended up being so that a lot of our people woke up, including me. In 2012, I woke up. I became aware of a lot of these things. And I tell you no lie, I cried my eyes out because I was still going to church. You can see, if you look at my Facebook page, you see me going to church. You see me, on Sunday morning dressed up to go to church. And I was depressed and crying when I found out that it was not true.
Yeah.
And that just happened naturally, the unseen hand. And the unseen had been around me for some time, but I just didn't see it. I didn't pay attention to it. But I'm here to just let people know to pay attention, live in the moment, breathe, be in tune to things around you. Because you never know when that unseen thing might come to you and talk with you and speak with you and tell you information that's very critical for you, for us as a people. And not to fear anything, because we have nothing to fear. They like to keep us in this perpetual state of unawareness or unknowing, anxiousness. But when we have these emotions are very critical because it means something. It's telling you something. When you feel a certain way, it means something. You just got to find out. Don't get caught up in the emotions. Find out what it is. That means that's what emotions are. You're moving. You're making an action to find out what exactly is going on, what's wrong. And, and Black people, I don't think we have any reason to be ashamed of anything. Because are we living a true life? Being that everything has been controlled, is it and then you don't have knowledge of self. Without that knowledge of self, which is critical for anybody, Caucasians have not knowledge of themselves, but yet we get a book called the Bible and we have to go by it and be told that that's all the knowledge you need. After we've been robbed.
Yeah.
And, man, the craziness never ends.
Yeah.
The craziness, the expectations of these people. It's crazy. What do you got to say?
I mean, I agree with you. Like I said, I woke up when I was like 15. I stopped going to church.
Mm-hmm.
I knew something was wrong and I've been back since.
Yeah.
And
Unfortunately.
my father, like I said, is a minister.
Yeah.
And my mother told me, she said, when I was 15, she said, if you want to go to church, you can. If you don't have to. I'll stop going.
Mm-hmm. My grandmother was like that, but unfortunately, my mom picked up and had us in church because her, all the time. But my grandmother, she didn't bother with it. My grandmother gave them Ouija boards, and we did seances in my grandmother's house. We did. My grandmother, I don't know, she was just different. But I mean, she did take me to church. My grandmother took me to my grandfather's church occasionally, but I don't think she really forced her children to go. They did go as a family, but the kids, that's the thing. The children were more into it, except for my one aunt. She didn't go. No, I had some people that didn't go. And of course, you know, people will label you when you don't go. You know. I don't know if you had that problem. You had brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I do. I have two brothers.
Okay. And they went to church all the time?
Up until I was, well, when I turned 15, all of them, well, I was 15, my brother was 13. Him and I, we didn't go any longer.
Mhm.
My younger brother, he was 8 years younger, so he had to go. He was like 7
Mhm.
when me and my brother next to me stopped going. But he
Oh,
was the youngest. He was 7, so you know my mother's kept taking him
oh, so he's
up until a certain age, and then he stopped.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. But my mom, she's still into it.
Really?
Even
Yeah.
though we didn't go to my grandfather's church, or my grandmother, because my grandmother was a Baptist, my grandfather was a Methodist preacher. So
Oh,
sometimes we went to his family's church. Then most of the time we went to my grandmother's family church, which were
yeah.
Baptist. You know, so and then my mom, she was a totally different thing. She became a non-denominational Christian church. And started taking us there. And then she didn't pressure me to go all the time when I was younger. You know, so that was a good thing. But I did get into it as a child. You know.
Yeah.
Because in school, in my younger grades, they didn't give us. They talked about slavery, but they didn't talk about religion. I didn't get religion education in school until I was in college. And that opened up all these literary writings and everything. Um, and different people's ideas. You have it was just a lot created when this country was being developed, um, for the Caucasian people. Um, it was a lot of created junk to me, you know, from our original writings, our original um, spirituality. And then they made things political. And then they started this politics. And it was just, that's why, from my perspective, I don't even see why we ever integrated. Because we were already integrated through slavery. Why did we want to, you know, you already living in these people's houses in their backyards and your little shacks. Why would you want to go back to that? That's slavery all over again in a different name, different manner.
Because they don't see it as such.
They got tricked, I think. Hmm.
That's why.
Yeah. But a lot of these stories, we know that a lot of things they say, they make up. It's not no truth to it. It may be a little bit of truth to it because we are seeing meteorites, but are they really meteorites? Because these people are hiding the secrets. We are the secrets. So they're hiding a lot of things about us from us. and they rewrote an illusionary script of life, and it ends with everybody being destroyed. But I don't believe that. No. I think that that's just their experience that they're
Yeah.
going to endure.
Well, since I'm gonna get off of here.
Me too. So with that said, family, thank you all for coming to hear me out. Thank you, DOD.
No problem. Thank you for having me again. Appreciate it.
When are you
And
going?
thanks everybody in the chat that came.
When are you going to go live next?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Thank
I've been thinking about some things to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But when I do, I'll let you know. You know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Patience is a virtue. Thank you. Emmanuel Briggs, Monique Hill. Thank you all. And I think it was one more, Torf, Nati Toffer. Nati Toffer.
Yeah. S. Wiseman.
Yes. Thank you so much. And with that said, true love, real peace.
And then hold on. Oh, okay, no. I was thinking maybe a Facebook friends that came over.
Oh, I didn't see. I don't know whether he was a Facebook friend or not.
Because I see that you're streaming on both, right?
Yeah, I stream on both.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
to
good.
all those on Facebook, thank you for showing up. Emmanuel Briggs, thank you. And with that said, true love, real peace, the higher self within, our soul. And stay tuned to tomorrow for the live midday meditations at 12:30. Thank you, guys.